Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Candid show. This episode is hosted by myself, Sriram and Krishna. So, in this podcast, we are going to talk about another session of quick bits. And for the people who don't have any idea about what this format of show stands for, so basically, this show is basically going to consist of us giving all of the latest trending news and current topics which are going on in the world as quickly as possible. So, hence the name Quick Bits. So, I directly jump into the first big news for today. I think which is also involving COVID, because as we know, COVID is still haunting us and still the number of cases are spiking every day. So this news is kind of giving us a positive light, because apparently the government has set up around $7 billion for the vaccinating all of the entire population of India. And it has also, government has also made a plan or formulated that for each individual person it is going to be about $6 to $7 per person for a vaccine, which is roughly about 450 to 550 rupees, and for a total population of about 1.3 billion. And I think this kind of this is a good move by government also, I think, because since they've already laid out all the funds which are going to be required for the vaccines, I think this is going to make the vaccine movement faster also, because since the cost factor has already been decided and actually and the result actually is with us, so I think the vaccine moving out process is going to be much easier. And also to talk about all of the current vaccine candidates, like which are the human trials in which are currently going on in India. We have the most advanced, or rather the most best state. The vaccine is actually Oxford AstraZeneca, which is in phase 3 of human trials, and it is currently the most successful vaccine in terms of the testing. And there is also another vaccine, a Pune based Serum Institute, which is also conducting trials in India. So yeah, this is one of the important news. So Krishna, do you think the budget allocation which is done by the government is going to be appropriate, or whether do you think the government is putting too much of a budget, or do you think the budget is too less?
Yeah, it is correct decision by the government and the budget. Speaking about the budget, it is actually yeah, it is correct, and it is a very great move by the government. As the main question here is that the availability of the vaccines must be checked, and each and every part of the country, like urban cities and rural areas, must also get the vaccines. So the availability is the most important factor to be checked and to be maintained. So the productivity is not important, but availability is very important. And the budget, coming to the budget, more than $7 billion is enough, I think. For a person
Yeah.
in India, we get around around 450 to 500 rupees. Yeah, it is actually enough, but the availability and the productivity must be checked. So that is the most important thing. So
Yeah.
moving on to the next quick bit we have got is that in Agra, 10 MBBS students were caught cheating in the examinations using advanced devices like Bluetooth devices. So they were caught cheating in the examination hall in Kandari campus of Dr. Ambedkar University in Agra. So 10 students of FH Medical College were wearing Bluetooth communicators around their necks as a talisman, as a tabbies, and cheating in the examination hall with it. So they were being provided with the answer to the questions by their associates sitting outside the examination hall, and one of the staff member caught them cheating, and one of them saw one person mumbling in a low voice. So he, under suspicion, caught him and had a very thorough body checkup, and he finally caught him using advanced devices to cheat in the exam. And he further came on to know that he was not only the one who was cheating, but also 10 other members were cheating. So the complaint was registered in the nearby police station, and the police began to investigate this, and they want to recover the main root cause of this cheating, and all the 10 were being under police custody. So this was for this news. And Shiram, what do you think about this, and what do you think about the staff who caught the student doing this such a malpractice?
Yeah, I think Krishna, the technology I think is starting to grow too much. In fact, I think, and these are all the problems which I think it is going to keep growing only. I think because I think we are growing more and more into the technological age. So I think the teacher who also caught, I think, did a very good job, or rather, I think it was a very good teacher. I think because I think a normal person couldn't have spotted it, because I think the students, especially the people who basically cheat, have got very good methods, or there are a lot of foolproof methods to kind of cheat in these days, and so I think this is kind of a problem. I think it's going to only move more, and I'm not even surprised to hear this also. I think because this is something which is going to be repeated more frequently, going to happen. So I think not a very big surprise, but I'm just surprised at how good the students are able to basically cover all of this, cover all of the plans which they had. Yeah. So moving on to the next quick bit. So in the recent Spacecom policy formulated, it was a new kind of a thing was added, which basically stated that private companies from now on could basically launch their satellites, and they could also sell their services to other companies also. And this is basically going to be set up, or rather going to be initiated in such a way that some of these companies are going to be allowed to set some of their control centers outside India, and they're also going to be able to they're going to be allowed to use their overseas assets also. And this is also going to enhance, or rather the main goal of this program, this main course of this policy also, is basically for enhancing space based communication needs also. And basically this is going to enhance, I think, our entrepreneurial aspect of Indian youth also, because I think currently this ISRO is basically the most dominant organization, and getting into ISRO is also not very easy. So I think the government opening up their services, or rather government actually encouraging more and more people to actually get into space research, I think this is a very good move in that direction, personally speaking. And I think this also is going to lead basically going to encourage more and more startups in this also, because since this is a very niche field, or rather since more people generally don't go into space, or rather since it's a very difficult field to actually make a breakthrough, I think so in that way this policy is something which is definitely going to be a big change in terms of the entrepreneurial aspect. So Krishna, do you think this is going to have like a very big impact on the Indian economy, or rather do you think do we actually need this kind of a change, because I think this also has its own disadvantages also. So do you think this is actually a much needed change right now?
Yeah, it is a much needed change, as the government decided to allow all the private companies in space research to allow them and to sell their services to another company. So this is a very great move by the government, as you already
Yeah.
told. ISRO is the leading space research company, the center in India. So it will actually encourage youngsters to join in space research, and it will definitely develop the economy of India, as we all know that space research is one of India's most important, and it is one of the most important thing according to
Yeah.
India. So we will gain more great awards, or we will attain a very big place in space research around the world. So moving on into the next quick bit we have got is that in Delhi, an Amazon delivery boy has been arrested for duping a customer while he was delivering a mobile phone purchased on the site. And instead of delivering the phone to the customer, the 22-year-old delivery boy said that the order has already been cancelled, and and he kept the device with him, and he sold the mobile phone to a different person for money. And the customer had a doubt on this, and he filed a complaint, and he came to know that the Amazon site, he when he came to know that the device was already delivered to the address, he got suspicious on the delivery boy, and he filed a complaint. So the on Monday, the Delhi police received a complaint against him, and the delivery boy told the customer that the order has been cancelled, and it will refund soon. So he got no refund, and that was a lie told by the delivery boy, and the police caught him, and an FIR under IPC section 420 was registered, and the boy was named Manoj, was arrested by the police for doing so. And This was for this quick bit. And what do you think, Siram? Buying on these e-commerce website, is it safe for the customer, or would it degrade the dignity of the e-commerce site?
Yeah, I think some of these people, or rather some of these delivery people, delivery boys, I think they don't think before they do something like this, because currently most of these very good e-commerce sites, Amazon, Flipkart and eBay, most of these websites have very good logistical services. So in that way, I think the person or the boy who did this, I think he didn't have any kind of an idea of the consequences which would actually happen, because consumer rights is something which is very strong right now, because since there is a lot of stuff like this going on, so the company or is going to take severe action against the person who's actually did this, because I think this indirectly impacts the company's well-being or the status also. So I think just because of this one person, it shouldn't affect the company on a very large scale, I think, because I think it's pretty stupid to do something like this, because I think it was invariably he's going to get caught at the end of the day. And Amazon is also very well known for its logistical and tracking services, so I think it was bound to happen, and all of this was, I think, now no surprise that he actually got caught and got arrested also. So I think this one person should not affect the company as a whole, but still I think India, it does not happen in foreign countries also, but some of the Indian people are sometimes very greedy, and I think nothing can be done about it, I think. So yeah, so moving on to the next quick bit. So US is planning to limit some of its visas for some of the skilled workers, and I think this is going to be a very big setback for Indians. And the main reason why they are actually doing this, I think, is because of the fact that there is a huge huge problem of mass unemployment in US just because of this COVID pandemic. And this change is basically being imposed in the tech industry, because I think most of the Indian people generally go to US, because US is basically a technological giant or giant capital in terms of its software industries. So I think that's why they are basically targeting the tech industry. But I think some people, or rather some people, kind of argue against the fact that some people are skilled workers coming from other countries to work in US actually not going to be degrading the economy, rather is just going to expand it and create more opportunity. And I think I agree with that fact, because I think it is not the problem of other people coming from other country and occupying, it's rather the economy of the country improving as a whole. So I think this move is definitely going to be bad for US in a way that their economy is going to take a hit. But I think this change is not going to be very big, or rather I think this change is not going to affect them on a short term scale, rather this is going to be a big problem in the long term scale only. So Krishna, what do you think about this? Do you think US is kind of being very scared, or rather do you think most of this is basically a precautionary measure to save themselves?
Yeah, as we all know that due to the COVID pandemic, most of them lost their job, and they are suffering due to unemployment. So if you see, US has a large population, and many of their own citizens have been victims of unemployment and are suffering for day-to-day life. So they in
Yeah.
US point of view, it may be right, as there is no job first of all for their country people, so where to give job for another countries, and they have just limited it for the time being. So we can hope that in future they may change their decision and increase the visa providence. So this is
Yeah.
according to US. If we see in their perspective, it may be a precautionary measure. Yeah. And moving on into the next quick bit, we see is that the Apple Watch has saved a 61-year-old man's life in India. So R Rajan, who was a retired pharma professional who uses an Apple Watch Series 5, decided to check in his ECG on the Apple Watch after he felt unwell in March this year. So the Apple Watch, it was gifted by his son, and his son was studying in Harvard University, and he gifted it for his dad. So let's see, since the Apple Watch allows the ECG function, so one can check it on one regular basis or in interval. So it saved his life by detecting the irregular heartbeat, and it made him sure that there is some problem in his heart. So he went to take a quick checkup, and the doctor said that the heart surgery must be done. So they said it is the right time to do the surgery, and he was very thankful for his son to give such a useful device. And this incident proves that technology can also be used in very positive way. So, Sriram, what do you think? Even despite the fact that technology has many negative points, but still the positive effect, such as this incident, is very useful by the technology.
Yeah, I think the Apple Watch, I think we are also, I think it is also medically also proven that the watch is very, very accurate, or rather, most of the measurements on the Apple Watch is pretty accurate. So I think I'm not very surprised about this, because I think a lot of people have been using Apple Watch, and most of their statistics are pretty much accurate also. So I think this is one of the more rather very big advantages of technology, I think, because since smartwatches are kind of like becoming more and more integrated to our lives, I think, because I think we are going to need them more and more. But I think phones are starting to become more of a more burden these days, because since carrying them is such a difficulty, because if you have a smartwatch, all of it is going to be the entire phone's display is basically transferred to a smartwatch. So I think in that way, smartwatch is definitely starting to come more and more into the markets, and I think news like this is going to encourage people to buy more and more. So I think in that way, smartwatches are definitely something which I think everybody are going to have at least in the next 5 to 6 years, I think. Yeah. So yeah, that will be the end of this podcast, guys. Thank you so much for listening to it. So if you have any kind of suggestions or criticism or comments, please post in the comment sections down below, and we'll see you in the next episode, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.